Welcome to another session in Microsoft Excel spreadsheets with Mr. TJ Zenda here, and today we are looking at the nested if function. The nested if function is the if function inside another if function. A nested if function in Excel, it occurs when you place one if function inside another to test multiple logical conditions in sequence. So instead of just two possible outcomes, true or false, you create a days chain of tests so Excel can take different actions depending on the specific data. Okay, so you now have more than two parameters here. You now have more than two scenarios. If you check on our previous session on if function, you would see that we're only considering two scenarios where we have pass or fail, true or false. Now we have more than two. We now have three in this case, where we want to see the learner getting the distinction, pass or fail. So the primary purpose of a nested if formula is to categorize data or calculate tiered results based on different criteria. So this Excel, it is going to evaluate the first condition. If it is true, it returns the specified result. If it is false, then it moves on to the next nested if function, the if function inside another if function. Okay, so the beauty of this nested if, you can stack up to 64 if functions together, though it can become more difficult to read because you need to look at what you are doing and imagine having about 4 if functions which are combined together. It's going to be a lot of work if you want to verify your results. Okay, so now let's start now. So in this case, we have 3 levels here, which is quite different from what we were doing in a different session when we were looking at the if function. Okay, it was only 2 levels, 2 scenarios, 2 parameters. Okay, so let's see how the nested if function works. Okay, so I'm going to have equal sign to trigger my if function. So if, okay, so we want to check, we're trying the first cell for the first learner. If our B4 is greater or equal to 80, then this learner is going to get a distinction. Okay, I hope you can see that. Right, now as you can see, I'm still left with the other 2 levels here, the pass or fail. Okay, so as long as you are left with more than 2 or 3 after inserting the first if, then you need to keep on going until you are left with 2. So we are done with the first one, the distinction, but then we go to the last 2. The last 2 are telling me that I'm only left with one if function. So after inserting your distinction here, then you come back to another if function. Okay, so in this case now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to combine I'm having greater or equal to 30 here and less or equal to 8. To do that, I'm going to use the AND operator. Okay, then I'm going to double click on that. So what I want is, if this cell is greater or equal to 30, and also add comma, I'm going to use comma, and at the same time, if this cell is less, okay, if this cell B4 is less than 80, which means anything below 80, that is from 79 up to 30, okay, this learner will be considered as is passing, just a pass. Okay, so I'm going to close the bracket first. Okay, I'm sure you can actually see that some nice colors there on the bracket is changing. There is highlighting that something is happening there. There's a reaction of the bracket. Then after that, I press the comma there. Okay, now after testing this, I want the Excel to retain a pass. Okay, then after that, it has to retain a fail. Okay, so we are done with this. Once we are done with this, so we are saying anything between 30 and in 79, it's a pass. Anything less than 30 now, so the Excel will test this level, the pass level there, and anything which is not in this parameter will be considered as a fail. And I close. Okay, so before we apply our so I want you to see here on our brackets. Our brackets are very important before we apply, before we end. Okay, so this first bracket is closing the first if statement. Okay, so we need to close the outer if statement, the first one here. Okay, remember the order of our brackets. So this one is now closed. Now to close this one, I need to add another bracket. Okay, now I want you to see here that actually you can actually see that this line is going to fail because it's less than 30, and this one is going to fail again, it's less than 30, and this one. Okay, now let's see, let's press enter there. Okay, so this one obviously is getting distinction. Okay, now we want to spread the formula to the following learners and see what is going to happen. Okay, can you see that this one with 18 is failing, this one with 19 again is failing, and this one with 28 is also failing. And our pass, there are values which are between 30 and 80 there. So that's how we can apply the nested if function. Okay, you can apply it whenever you have more than 2 parameters. In this case we had 3. So imagine we want to grade our learners in in levels of code 7, code 6, code 5, code 4, code 3, code 2, code 1. We can also apply that using the nested if function. And it's also very important to understand these operators and how they work, how they are applied in Excel. Look at how I have applied my AND operator here. We are going to discuss in the next session about the AND or not operators. It's very, very important that you understand these operators to join more than 2 operators. Okay, so you need to understand the AND operator and the OR operator so that you'll be able to apply them in your Excel. So that's it. This is the nested if function, the if function inside another if function. Okay, let me know if you have any questions in the comment section, if you want to add anything so that we can improve in our next session. You are welcome. Please let me know again in our comment section. Please do not forget to like our video, to share it, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much. See you in the next session.